Nitya. So Nitya is started her career in hospitality industries and work in the hotel industry till she found her calling to work with the special needs for children. So she is actually expert for well-being of children. Thank you, Nitya, for joining us. She is naturally inquisitive about the children and also educations which brought her to the world of dyslexia and also later to the beautiful world of autism. Thank you so much for all those wonderful pieces of your bio. So now float to you, Nitya. So I would once again request you, please limit your talk within 12 minutes so that actually we can go by our commitment of winding up the sessions within 3 hours. We are actually running a bit late. Thank you.
Thank you, Satya.
I'm stopping the screen share. You can just take on the screen. Okay?
Yes. Very good afternoon to all of you from India. It's actually afternoon right now here. I am not able to share my screen actually.
There is a green,
Okay,
green button.
Kuntal,
There is a
Yeah.
green button, Nitya.
you
Yeah.
see there.
Yeah, I can, but yeah, okay. Yeah. Okay. Can you see my screen now?
Just
Coming up.
it's coming up. Yeah, we can.
Yes, now.
Okay. So good evening again to all of you. It was wonderful actually to listen to all your perspectives about climate change, about water, and about other natural resources that you were talking about. But I come from a very different background. I come from a very human-oriented background, something to do with children, something to do with children and young adults who have a very unique identity for ourselves, and we call it as autism. Children with autism spectrum disorder, as people put it across. Now, what I am going to talk to you today about is an understanding, a layman's understanding about what autism actually is, and what kind of challenges do children with autism face in the day-to-day life. And in the same way, I would also like to touch upon very briefly as to how we can enable a little quality education for them and also give them equal opportunities in today's world. Now, to start with, let's first understand what autism, many of you may probably know what it is, but to just touch upon what it exactly is, it's just a development disorder. It's just a development disorder which just does not let that individual communicate with the other person in the way that is normal for all of us. It impacts the nervous system. And so it's very important for us to understand that it is not that they do it out of an intention to hurt somebody or something. It just comes to them naturally. It's something that probably we need to understand, and it's not something that children with autism are intentionally trying to do. That is how they come to understand the world around us. So if you can see the screen that I'm sharing with you right now, you can see that most of the time we isolate the autistic child, saying this child does not want to really communicate with me, but actually he's not trying to communicate. There is something else that is actually interesting him, and that is where we misunderstand the child and feel that, oh, this person is not wanting to talk to me, or this person is someone different. So that being an introduction to autism, I come from that perspective, because when I started off teaching, it was my interest in children which pulled me to understand what is it that they want to do, what is it that they want to learn. And the more I started teaching younger children, I came across the world of dyslexia, which was a very, very, very intriguing world for me. I really did not understand as to why what is normal for me was not very normal for another child who was not able to spell a word or read a word. Now, learning about dyslexia got me into this world of autism by chance. I call it a divine intervention in my life, because had it not been dyslexia, I would have never found autism in my life. And it's a beautiful world for me. It's a world where I connect with another individual at the soul level. I don't need to speak much, and yet the other person understands what I'm trying to actually project. So that is the kind of a world that we live in. Now, that being a short introduction to how I perceive education and children as, today I would be specifically putting across my opinion on how we can provide quality education to special needs children, which also includes their good health and well-being, and also provide how we can provide them equal opportunities in today's world. Now, a classroom environment does not only consist of desk, chair, and a blackboard and a teacher and couple of children in the class. It is also important that the surrounding around the class is such that all the children feel that there is a need for learning. There is a need, there is a want for the teacher to actually teach you something. And that is where the autism in a child comes into being. It is very important as a teacher for me to understand that a child with autism has very sensitive things like, loud sound, loud color, bright color, the way I speak, the way I smile. All these things make a lot of difference to a child with autism. So for me, as an educator, as a facilitator, it's important that I bring a surrounding which is welcoming the child into the class, which means that I can take into consideration what his requirements are. What is it that is stopping him from learning beyond what others feel he cannot? So when you start looking at these small things in every child, you come to realize that an autistic child is no different than a normal child. It's just that you have to tweak the way you look at the world around you. So that, I'm sorry?
No. Can anybody unmute yourself? Yeah.
Sorry. Sorry. So with this, I would like to just bring in an example that I had in my class. When I had initially started working with children with autism, there was this particular girl in my class who just wouldn't cooperate with anything. Not that she was throwing things around, but she would just be looking outside the window, looking at something which I never understood what it was. It took me about a year and a half to understand what exactly she was looking for. And all she was looking for was a friend around her. I was not a friend to her then. I was only a teacher who was trying to project, teach, learn. The moment I realized that she was looking for a friend and I changed my attitude to become a friend, there was a change in that child. There was a change in terms of she was cooperating with what skill we wanted to impart to her. She was able to even speak certain words, telling me what exactly she is feeling and how she is feeling about a particular situation. So these are these small aspects of a teacher that makes quality of education very important, um, um, very necessary for children, especially with autism, because they are very sensitive to each and everything. Some of the children that I come across are even sensitive to how things are arranged in class. If a chair does not stand in one place, the next day it is somewhere else, it brings a lot of discomfort to them. So these are these small things that I need to understand as a teacher, as a facilitator, to make sure that the environment around the child is happy so that he can flourish from there. And that's very important in terms of the quality of education when we want to provide to it. Now, quality of education for me does not only mean I teach something and you learn something. It, as an overall development, the health of the child is very important. In India, for regular going children, you have the midday meal. The midday meal project was actually introduced to the schools, basically the government sponsored schools, so that children could come to school at least to have a healthy meal and then learn. Because once your health is good, everything else will fall in place. But with autistic children, it's not just about food, it's about what goes inside you. So when you are dealing with autistic children, when you are meeting autistic children, there are certain things that we need to be very careful about. Careful about giving them anything that does not have gluten and casein, because these are two components which do not work very well with their guts. And once your guts are a little disturbed, everything else around you also is disturbed. In the sense, if I eat something and does not, I have a stomach ache, I may behave in a different way. I may not want people around me at all to be anywhere near me. The same way, an autistic child is just telling you across in their own ways by probably throwing something or probably screaming, irritating, biting themselves. But actually, what they are trying to tell you is that there is something that is troubling me. So please help me overcome that. So once we start looking at things that point of view, understanding why that child is behaving in that way, it is easier for us to work with the child. It's easier for us to understand what the child's needs are. It's easier also the child to come across and tell, this is a skill I'm very good at. So can you please help me in developing the skill? It's just about that understanding that we have between each other. Now, having said that, the main aspect of the discussion today for me was to provide equal opportunities to children and young adults. As a child, I've already described how a classroom can make a child flourish in the environment, develop their inherent skill, everything of that sort. But the problem arises when the child is ready to face the world. Not many opportunities are right now provided for them to actually bring their talent out, mainly because of the fact, this is again a personal opinion of mine, mainly because I feel that children with autism do not really multitask very well. For them, they have one skill which they are very good at, and if we can trap that skill and give them that facility to flourish, they can do wonders with that. We have examples in the past, like if you can see my screen, I have many famous people who have really come across as great people that we really look up to now and learn from them. These were all considered to have some part of autism was there in them. It is understood that they had autism in them, and that is why they were able to focus on a particular thing. So that's where I'm coming from, that when the corporate world needs to open up to these children, these young adults, to give them opportunity to not multi-skill and do 100 things at one go, but give them one task that they are gifted at and let them flourish in that, because that's the only livelihood that they can look forward to, and they are happy with that little bit of work that they are doing, because that gives them that pleasure that they've achieved something. Now, having said that, autism in India was not a very relative term. People did not know much about autism or any kind of special needs even 20-25 years back. In the 1990s, people started hearing the word autism. They started, there was some amount of awareness in terms of what is this. There was some inquisitiveness, and that's where somewhere around 1995, the government of India, under the Disability Act, provided opportunities for children with autism to be able to learn, and they were encouraged to study in schools which had regular children, and these were children who had very mild autism. Now, what autism again is a spectrum. There is mild to extreme. Now, when the child is extreme, it definitely has to go to a school which is specialized, which is not a non-formal way of education, but develops the skill, the inherent skill that the child has, so that they can flourish overall when they become young adults. So, Government of India has taken a note of all this, and from about 1995, there have been a lot of improvement in terms of the kind of education that is being imparted, the kind of openness people have shown in order to accept children of autism and other special needs. So today, when you see, I come from Chennai, which is in the southern state of Tamil Nadu, it's the capital of Tamil Nadu. And in Chennai itself, we have about 15 small to large organizations which cater to children with special needs. In the whole of India, that's about 2,500 schools in total, which cater to such children in order to, help them uh, bring whatever good they can bring, and whatever the ultimate need for them is to find something that they can survive as a livelihood at a later point in their lives. So this also will help the parents. The parents of those autistic children right now, what I feel, they are very scared for their future, for the children's future, because they don't know how things will pan up, especially in the kind of scenario that we are living in. They're very scared, they're very anxious about what is going to happen tomorrow. But if the community as a whole, especially the corporate world and the government, comes together to give children with special needs and young adults with special needs that little platform, to give them that little hope that we can provide you small activities that in which you can flourish, a skill that is good for you, you can flourish in that, that will give a lot of solace to the parents of today, and then tomorrow is definitely going to be brighter for everybody. So that is all I wanted to discuss. I don't have big data to tell what I wanted to tell. It was just a heart talk that I wanted to present, just to tell what I feel about children with autism and how we can make life better for them. And I think platform like these, having heard the others, how much they are involved in their respective work, it is very nice to hear such things. And I feel platform like these can also give children with autism some benefit, some kind of um, a benefit of some kind of a platform to
Wow, thank you
actually
so much, Nitya.
Thank you so much, Kuntal and Satya.
Thank you so much. So really, we're grateful to you that the kind of work we're doing to bring and keep smile on such children, which is very important to prove that we're working for leaving no one behind. So this is one of the key target of our SDG is to bring the last one first. So thank you once again. And once again, thanks special to you is because you have completed your presentations within the time limit. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Yeah.
Satya, I have a
So
question for Nitya Venkatesh. Can I
please,
ask a
please,
question? Hi,
please.
Nitya. Yes, thank you. Hi, Nitya. This is Dr. Ritu Bhatia from Mumbai. And I just want to know, like, looking at this COVID situation right now, and we all know that the autistic children have this resistance for change. How you explain them about like washing hands and wearing the mask? Because from a friend's family experience, I could say that family is struggling a lot, like
Mm,
making the child understand that you have to wear mask.
mm.
So can you suggest something for them?
See, what I've come across with children of my class whom I've dealt with, a lot of information actually in today's time has to be through the parents only. As a teacher sitting at the other end of the screen, it's very difficult for me to go across a child who really cannot differentiate between that screen and the person beyond that. I can only work with the parents and tell them how best they can do. Some children like it when it is provided to them in a very musical fashion. When I sing a rhyme to them, especially the younger ones, when I sing a rhyme to them and tell them that this is very important, they immediately catch up to it. Some adults take time. It is not easy for them to have, it's not like us that, we understand that there is a necessity to wear a mask. There is a change. For autistic children, it's very difficult to accept that change. It will take time. It may take a week or 10 days for them, but it has to be something that has to be told to them every day, every day, every day, why you need to do it. And once that sits in, they will happily take it. It is not difficult at all. It is absolutely not difficult unless we keep our push across. Like I said, one of them got onto it very happily when I sang a rhyme to them and said that you need to really wear, and then it was just easy for them to wear. The other was just easy because the mother was wearing, the father was wearing, so he thought that it is important for me. It was just as a matter of fact, everybody is wearing, I also need to wear, kind of a thing. So to each child, it's different, Dr. Ritu.
Individual
I cannot
differences
have
are
one,
there.
yeah, you have to keep trying with every child. There is no one way of doing so.